Tonight on CTV, a community in mourning. The Fort Collins dog who took the world by storm for comforting victims of mass shootings has passed away.
Her legacy is she was there.
And Women's History Month is here. Colorado State University has plans all month long to celebrate women of all backgrounds.
Not only that, but March is the month basketball fans have been waiting for. The Rams are currently in Las Vegas for the Mountain West Championships, and we have the inside scoop on how they're doing.
All that and more starting right now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Bella Walser. Thank you for joining us tonight.
The number 8 ranked CSU men's basketball team took on the top-seeded San Diego State earlier today. CTV's very own Leah Kukowski and Mike Walsh are with the Rams in Vegas for more. Mike and Leah, how's it going?
Thanks, JJ. And Ram fans and players aren't feeling their best right now after an absolute heartbreaker of a loss to San Diego State, with the final score being 64-61.
Yeah, I mean, this one was down to the wire, and Isaiah Stevens had a chance to tie it, but the Rim had other plans. The Rams fought for a solid 40 minutes and really gave the Aztecs their run.
Definitely an awesome game to watch, and it actually was pretty close in the box score, so let's check that out. And while looking at the numbers shows just how sometimes it doesn't go your way. CSU shot better than the Aztecs overall, but lack of rebounds and more fouls are just some of the factors that played into this loss.
Both teams left it all out on the court, and Isaiah Stevens can't be the hero in every single game. This was an all-around team effort, and I'm proud of these guys.
Yeah, an awesome game to watch. If it is the last one for some of our seniors, definitely a good one to go out on.
And there were a lot of positives this week, too. The Rams had a huge win against Fresno, and that was the only reason that we made it to today. So stay tuned for later in the show to hear more about that one. But for now, JJ, back to you.
Oh man, we were so close. If CSU pulled out the win, chaos would have ensued.
Regardless, it was a strong performance against a top team. Mike and Leah, thank you for joining us.
A man was arrested for allegedly groping several women's private areas of businesses across Fort Collins. Police services received multiple calls of a man touching women at several businesses across the city. The first calls came in the 100 block of West Troutman Parkway. Shortly after, the police started receiving more calls from more stores around South College Avenue, all reporting a serial groper. Officers arrived at the corner of South College Avenue and Swallow Road and located Rory Seltman, who matched the description victims had given to the police. Seltman was booked into the Larimer County Jail for unlawful sexual contact and harassment.
After several months, the body camera footage of an officer-involved shooting that killed a suspect was released this past week. When patrolling a Love's gas station, a deputy noticed suspicious activity from a truck missing a front license plate and a headlight. When the deputy tried to pull the truck over, the vehicle did not stop, leading to a pursuit that lasted about 9 miles. When the truck exited, the deputy performed an immobilization tactic to stop the truck. The suspect then reached for a rifle, leading to shots being fired.
At that time, the deputy saw the driver reach for a rifle and try to load it. Faced with a deadly threat, the deputy fired his duty weapon. The truck began rapidly accelerating, and 2 other deputies fired their duty weapons as well, believing the driver was trying to dislodge the truck and run over first responders.
When the deputies approached the vehicle, they found the suspect dead with a loaded rifle in his hands. Coroner investigators also recovered 49 fentanyl pills and drug paraphernalia within the vehicle.
A beloved Fort Collins canine hero who pawed her way into hearts across the country has passed away. Tears were flowing as comfort dog Cubby died while surrounded by members of her Lutheran Church Charities team. Veterans at emergency Medicare facilities had discovered cancer throughout Cubby's body that was too aggressive to save. The lovable golden retriever came to Redeemer Lutheran Church in 2015 as part of a national ministry that sends golden retrievers as emotional support animals during a crisis. Cubby immediately got to work, comforting victims from multiple national tragedies, including the Post nightclub shooting, the Parkland shooting, and the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Cubby also supported the local Fort Collins community by making visits to the Larimer County Sheriff's Office and emergency dispatch. The many ways Cubby served the community left an impact on his staff as well.
I would read I remember meeting her in Las Vegas. I remember when I saw her in El Paso. I remember when she came to my son's birthday party in Fort Collins. I mean, her legacy is she was there.
While Cubby may be gone, her legacy of community service will continue on, as Cubby's ministry will ensure that all of their fluffy good boys and girls will continue to heal those in need. You know, that's actually the wonderful thing. While Cubby was in Uvalde helping those victims of that terrible, terrible day, a little girl who was able to get the chance to meet and be comforted by Cubby would take out little pieces of her hair and would store them away. You know, when she was asked about this, she said that she wanted to take a little piece of Cubby with her when Cubby inevitably had to leave. So the church kind of made this little stuffed toy to give to victims of any of these tragedies to make sure that Cubby is always there for them, no matter what.
Also, that way they don't have to miss her.
Exactly.
They have a piece of her all the time.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good idea.
It's so wonderful. You want to pet it?
Yes.
Of course. Oh. All right, now we're going to pass it over to our weather forecaster, Adam Carlson, to see if these winds will blow us into next weekend. Adam?
Well, JJ, I have some pretty bad news for you because these winds that have been sweeping Fort Collins are not going away anytime soon. Tonight, we're seeing even 9 miles per hour currently. A little less than earlier today, though. It's 39 degrees, cloudy out, and 41% humidity. This Sunday, it may be time to account for some extra sleep. Daylight savings goes out of effect this Sunday, bringing us back to later sunsets. The event still remains highly debated as to if we should continue observing in Colorado, but it seems like it's here to stay, at least for now. Overnight lows, we'll see down that I-25 corridor, we've got a lot of red flag warnings. What does that mean? It means that it's windy and dry, which leads to potential for fire. Over in the western slopes, we have Craig at 12 degrees, and Vail and Telluride both have their winter weather warnings. Vail getting 12 to 24 inches of snow in the next few days, and Telluride getting 10 to 20. Once we head over to the eastern plains, we're going to see just generally 20s around. Now for tomorrow's highs, 55 is our top and 37 is our low. It's going to be cloudy out, a bit windy, 11 miles per hour, and we finally got to a point where we have 6 p.m. as our sunset, finally leaving our days a little brighter. Now, heading into the next week, we're going to see it's all around 50s and 40s. Saturday at 54, and then Sunday our lowest until Wednesday at 45 degrees. Cloudy all week long, and Tuesday will even hit the 60s. And that brings me to the end of the weather forecast for you all tonight. If you're staying in town for a break or going out of state, have a safe break, and I look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks, Adam. Drug-involved overdoses have risen over the past couple of years in the country and in our own backyard. According to the CDC, the number of national overdoses had a 14% increase in just 1 year, from 2020 to 2021. As numbers rise, Larimer County has been cracking down on the fentanyl epidemic within the community. In 2019, the Drug Task Force seized around 10,000 fentanyl doses. In 2021, however, those numbers climbed up to almost 156,000 doses, and these numbers nearly doubled in 2022. As those affected by fentanyl increases, the Drug Task Force hopes to raise awareness and family support for those impacted by the lethal drug. The NCDTF encourages the community to increase conversations surrounding fentanyl, as this is not a problem law enforcement can solve alone.
Housing insecurity and chronic homelessness have been a constant issue that 39% of unsheltered citizens in Fort Collins face, according to the city. Now, in an attempt to support the city's homeless population, ideas of a 24/7 homeless shelter has been proposed, and with it, questions from the community. Staff from the Fort Collins Rescue Mission met with community members to answer these questions about the early design plans for the shelter. The new building is going to be a trauma-informed space for those experiencing homelessness. The facility will have beds for 200 people in a large space that Rescue Mission hopes will ensure no one is turned away at night. However, residents have raised concerns about the compatibility between their homes and the shelter. But Neighborhood Services assured residents that there are sites that the sites are going to be in a commercial district with a large fence separating the shelter from other neighborhoods. The location of the shelter is now decided and is one of the final steps for a rescue mission to submit the shelter's applications to the city. Although this is the shelter's early phase and no plans have officially been formed or submitted, Rescue Mission says the community's concerns are being heavily considered in this process. Up next on CTV, we have an exclusive feature on a cultural staple here in Fort Collins.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. International Women's Day took place yesterday. As a way of celebrating, CSU's Women in Science Network hosted its 7th annual Women in Science Symposium.
And so the only way to do that was to...
Diverse female voices were brought together at Canvas Stadium to inspire attendees and create conversation.
In most of my core classes for my actual degree, we learn a lot more about men in science than we do about women in science. And that's why I think that this is important, again, just because it actually shows you that there are women in science.
I think just generally being a woman and being a Native woman in higher ed and in research and in education definitely comes with its challenges. Having a space to talk about those, compare, share resources with people is really empowering.
The event focused on inclusivity and encouraging new perspectives within the STEM community.
I think events like this are great because it's creating touch points for communities that have sometimes been either neglected.
Not only do we want to increase access to marginalized folks in disciplines like STEM, we also want to recognize that they bring a unique perspective to the field that's going to help the field change too.
Kids were even included as there was a segment for K through 12 students that included dogs, bugs, and even a dancing room.
We drew pictures of what we think a scientist is, and I think their idea is changing as we go through all of the different experiences.
The ability to get women in science and getting them involved and building that excitement at a young age for them, hopefully, creating future scientists down the road.
I think we have some new budding scientists in our future.
The event was full of learning experiences, whether it was the adults attending the panels or the first graders learning about bugs.
A long-standing bill passed in 1981 let landlords raise their rent by any amount. However, a new bill introduced in the Colorado State Legislature could change that. The new bill, HB 23-115, has earned committee approval and will be heard on the House floor. The bill will address rising rent costs that make rent unattainable for residents to remain in their homes and communities. It plans to do this by letting local communities decide on whether rent control limits should be in place. Ultimately, supporters of this bill hope it will let residents have and live comfortably and will lead to more stable families.
On February 24th, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced that Colorado will receive a significant fund to improve water quality and provide safe drinking water to all communities in the state. Over $18 million will go towards clean water infrastructure upgrades, focusing on helping under-resourced communities and protecting bodies of water. Not only does the funding help to address key challenges like climate change, but the money will also go towards creating jobs across Colorado.
The Museum of Art has been a home for artists around the world to display their masterpieces and capture the hearts of admirers. One of their exhibits, the annual mask exhibit, has made its way back to their halls, and with it, an amazing talent of artists all over the community. Community members from all across Fort Collins gathered at the Museum of Art in Old Town for one of the most anticipated art events of the year, the mask exhibit. The event, which serves as a fundraiser for the museum, draws in talent young and old from all over northern Colorado, gives the mask some colors and the time needed to make a masterpiece.
That's what the mask exhibit does for me, and probably people that come here. There's so many perspectives. There's so much to each mask.
Fort Collins native Mark Rossoff has been painting in the exhibit for years, and like many others, has created true works of art for the community.
The mask this year is an evolution through all the years, and the idea of it is that people describe it as a basket, and I kind of see it as an anemone as well. And it's the idea that we kind of protect ourselves.
The exhibit has created over 3,000 masks, with 200 coming from this year alone.
3 different people from the community who were involved with the museum decided to create this fundraiser called Masks. They've created an event that's incredibly long-lasting and has such good feelings within the community because it's lasted now 19 years.
Artists took the premise of the exhibit, which has everyone take a blank white face mask and put their own expressions on it and flex their creative muscles. To them, each experience was unique in their own right.
Yeah, just giving the local art community, especially people who aren't full-time artists, the opportunity to positively create art is great.
But it was just a really fun project for me, and really nice that now I get to say, I had a piece in a museum, you know?
The mask exhibit is a celebration of artistic expression and unity for the Fort Collins community.
Fort Collins and this art community has been really wonderful and very supportive through the years.
The annual exhibit has raised over $2 million for the museum, and over 3,000 masks have been created for this local tradition. The mask exhibit will be at the Museum of Art until May 5th, and the masks are even available for purchase. Yeah, those masks were just so cool. I can't believe people in this town are just that creative. I was very impressed.
They looked really awesome. I really like the one with the camera lens on the eye. That was a good idea. I want to make one.
I know. I want to make one too. I think maybe me and you have to do it next year.
We should. That'd be fun.
Of course. Well, stick around because CTV will be right back with a full breakdown of the CSU Fresno State game.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
How's it going, Rams? I'm Payton Hagans, and welcome to Thursday Night Sports. Tonight, I've got more basketball for you, as well as a dive into professional wrestling. You'll find out more on Thursday Night Sports, which starts right now. Now, we heard from Mike and Leah earlier about CSU's unfortunate end to its basketball season, but it did take a win to get to that point. Here's their report on the Rams' victory in round 1 over Fresno State yesterday afternoon.
Thanks, Peyton. Colorado State did have a nail-biting second half against the Fresno State Bulldogs, but they were able to get it done thanks to an Isaiah Stevens game winner with 2 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, Mike, this game was super fun to watch, especially since the Rams led the majority of the afternoon. CSU came out hot in the first, and this was mostly due to John Tanjay hitting threes at any given chance. But the Bulldogs were able to respond, eventually overcoming an 11-point deficit late in the second half to tie it up at 62. But as we know, Isaiah Stevens has come up time and time again when it matters most, waiting for the perfect moment to attack the paint and hit a game-winning floater. Wow.
And while we do quite enjoy watching those highlights and talking about the game, let's now go to the box score. And at first glance, we see a pretty evenly matched contest. However, once you look a little more in depth, we see the Rams putting up a higher three-point percentage and overall field goal percentage. One of the green and gold's best traits this whole season has been their efficiency. But the Rams weren't on top in every category as the Bulldogs bested them in the paint and on the boards, registering almost twice as many points inside and grabbing 6 more rebounds. But in the end, it was the Rams' calm nature, especially from Stevens, that won them this game.
Well said, Mike. And, you know, with the outcome earlier today, this win still was a huge morale booster for the Rams. Concluding the regular season with the win against New Mexico, combined with the Fresno State win, has a lot of really good opportunity to start the season off strong for next year. Payton, back to you.
Wow, I hope that Isaiah Stevens' bucket wasn't his last notable moment in the green and gold. I think we're all rooting for his COVID year to be put to use. We'll just have to wait and see. Are representing CSU all the way in Fresno State. Sorry about that. Let's head back to NOCO for some professional wrestling.
The art of pro wrestling is a craft like no other, and not many people are familiar with it.
I watched wrestling since I was like 7 years old. My brother introduced me into it, and I was like hooked ever since.
Like Brooke, many of the pro wrestlers entered the industry by watching the WWE at a young age.
I mean, I've been a fan since about 4 years old. The Rock Mick Foley was like my first match, so it's been like a part of my life, my entire life.
Pro wrestling doesn't only inspire those in the United States, though.
I am a Chicano, Mexican-American. My parents are immigrants to this country. It's a great country. I love this place a lot. I love what I do. It's awesome. It's kind of like a good outlet, good escape from the world.
Because of how unique of a sport and culture pro wrestling is, people jump-started their careers in various ways.
Growing up, it's hard to find out where to wrestle, so I started doing like high school wrestling, some jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, all kinds of stuff to kind of get me as close to this as possible. But when COVID hit, it kind of made me question some things, maybe reevaluate some things, and decided time's running out to follow my dreams, and now there's no better time than now.
And, I just watched it since I was a little kid, and for years I've always wanted to. And then, I don't know, certain things happen and in life, and kind of, you kind of start hitting the gas.
Things can get pretty heated when they finally compete, which is another reason why fans get so invested in their favorite wrestlers. Despite this, participating in the activity provides a much deeper meaning. This became apparent for Brooke after she suffered an injury on just her third match.
With my second injury, I had such a huge, overwhelming support system behind me that I wasn't expecting at all.
And that's one of the most praised aspects about it, the tight-knit community.
Especially the different territories or regions that you work in. There's kind of like a group of family out there, everywhere you go.
No matter how intense the matches get, the wrestlers are always looking forward to their next event.
Honestly, I love performing. I love doing what I do. It's you put your heart and soul into what you do, and you kind of feel good about it. And when you get a reaction that you're looking for with the crowd, that's what I look forward to the most, because that's when you know that you did what you're supposed to do.
I have genuinely never experienced anything like pro wrestling, and I want to give a huge thanks to Battleground Pro and all of the pro wrestlers for having me. They're hoping to start hosting more events in the Fort Collins area, so keep an eye out for that. And Rams, that's all the sports action I have for you tonight, but don't go away just yet, because CTV's very own Nolan Teubel got the scoop on a new tradition taking over campus.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Nolan Teubel. Do you need a remedy for the Monday blues? Well, there's a new trend taking over campus that might just make you rethink how terrible Mondays can be. It's been an instant hit with many students taking to Snapchat and Instagram to post their outfits on Mondays to boost morale and start their week right. Some might even say it's slay.
I'm Victoria Doskotch, a freshman student here at CSU, and I created Slay Monday. So I created Slay Monday just because Mondays are always a drag for me, and I never want to get up, especially when I have an 8 a.m. But I love fashion, and I love being creative, and I love looking good, and I love when all my friends around me look good because I'm a firm believer in look good, feel good. And on Mondays, when none of us are really feeling the school grind, I think it's an awesome way to just boost our morale and have a fun day.
Doskotch wants more people to express their creativity through dress and has been encouraging others to take part in Slay Monday. She hopes that one day it gains enough popularity to reach the entire school.
When I first started Slay Monday, it was mainly just my small, close friend group at school here. But now, as I've met more people and I'm letting more people know about it, I'm getting so many more participants, and it's so fun.
This trend shines a positive light on being unique and is encouraging students to display their true fashion identity.
I think everyone at CSU is fashionable in their own way because they're each showing how individual they are and how creative they are through their clothes.
My favorite thing about Slay Monday is that it gives me reason to put on a fun fit. It spices up the week a bit.
Doskotch plans to continue taking part in this trend for the rest of her time here at CSU. With this new trend on the rise, I hope to see more CSU students participating and expressing themselves through fashion. Mondays can be such a drag, so why not make it slay? So, JJ, Bella, what are we thinking? I mean, I had such a blast learning about Slay Monday, but I'm curious, are you guys going to participate? What are we thinking here?
I'm absolutely down.
Yeah, I want to participate. It's a good idea to start your week off right, for sure.
Of course, dress for success. You feel good, you're going to do good. So,
100%.
It's good philosophy.
Drip every day.
Exactly.
Well, Rams, that is all we have for you tonight. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Nolan Teubel.
And I'm Bella Walser. Have a good night, Rams, and we all hope you have an amazing spring break. We'll see you soon.